Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror PSA presented by Scary Nerd, and as always, we are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Saul.
And I'm Angie.
The following is a public service announcement.
A young group of monster fanatics attempt to save their hometown from Count Dracula and his monsters. We watched the 1987 classic, The Monster Squad.
Monster Squad. I love this movie. This movie is just so fun.
This is a glimpse of childhood, I feel like.
Yeah. It'd been a while since I've seen this movie, so I forgot a lot about what happens in it. But yeah, I got the whole nostalgia trip from it.
Oh, yeah. It's so 80s.
It's been a while since I've watched it, too, but there was... You know how like we've watched a lot of these movies and we haven't watched them in a while and we go back and we're like, oh, I forgot about this part, or I forgot how bad this was. This movie is exactly the way I remember it, and there's no new surprises from it. I'm like, this is like, instead of me going back and like shitting on how, great this movie was from my childhood, I just went back into my childhood for a few hours.
It's so fun. How can you not get into this movie? There were so many things from our childhood. Like the mom found Van Helsing's diary at a fucking garage sale. Like that was what we assumed was going to happen in the world as we grew up.
Well, okay, because even when I was a little kid, I'm like, well, that's kind of dumb. And like, why? Like, okay, I still had questions about the movie. So the stuff, I guess maybe it's because when I watched this movie when I was a kid, like I was not like the little thin plot points. I was like, well, that's stupid. Like even as a kid, I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
I know, and I love how the dad like totally makes fun of the whole genre in the beginning. He's just like
those plot points.
Yeah, plot points. There's no plot. They've killed the guy and he's come back multiple times.
The thing that stuck out for me the most from this movie is I remember when I watched this as a kid, and for 1 year I wanted to be Dracula. And I had to be the Dracula from this movie. Yeah. I needed the black cape with the red on the inside of the cape, with the weird little what do you call that thing that goes around the neck? The collar thing that stuck up?
Oh,
there's a name for it, but I don't remember.
There
the name
is,
of it.
yeah.
It's the Dracula collar.
The Dracula collar.
I had to be him. I had to have the fluffy shirt, which I didn't get that one.
Yeah.
I needed the necklace with the weird little gold emblem and everything. Yeah. It's like I had to be him. It was like if I didn't look like him, it was like I didn't want to be him. I fought hard to try to be that Dracula.
A side note, did you guys ever get pissed when your costume didn't look as good as you thought it was as a kid? I would get so annoyed. I'd be like, I bought all the things. Why do I not look like the thing?
Yeah. Do my makeup better.
Not just that, though, but you think that. In your mind, you think you look like the spitting image of whatever character you're going to be.
Well, think about it, too, though. It's like, okay, well, how do they do that? Like, you ask an adult. It's like, well, they have somebody that does the makeup, and they do their hair, and then they have the costumes. Like, okay, we have makeup and hair and costume. Why the fuck don't I look like that?
Yeah. I know. I used to get so mad. I'm like, you know how to do this stuff. I see you put makeup on every day.
Yeah,
you can't,
like, why
can't
you
like
make me
outline
look like
my
Dracula?
face.
I don't know how to do that. You do this every day, literally.
You do it every day.
He's like, just pretend I'm you.
I know. They never told us that like they had a separate person for hair and a separate person for makeup and a separate person for wardrobe, and we expected our parents to be on top of all of that shit.
we bought the stuff from the store that has Dracula on it, so this clearly is Dracula's makeup. So I don't know. I understand why you can't just do it better.
Kid logic makes you think that. I'd be like, hey, they did it in the movie. Why can't you do it in real life?
One favorite thing from this movie that I had completely forgotten about is Sean's shirt in the opening scene with him. It's just a Stephen King rules, and it's so like block letter, like generic. I'm like, I fucking want that
His
shirt
mom
now.
made that for him, probably.
Probably, I need that. I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna cut some fucking square block letters out and.
Emily the mom was the greatest mom, except for like when
she
it
was
came.
An 80s mom.
Except for except for when it came to like where the fuck are your kids?
Yeah,
like
where
at
your kids
all.
are.
Like she never knew. Like Phoebe's like 4 years old and just running around the neighborhood,
out there
like
trying to be in a monster club.
Yeah,
she's so adorable. Phoebe carried this movie.
Phoebe is the true star.
Yes,
she is.
That little girl.
So don't be chicken shit. Man. I quote that till this day because of Monster Squad. The first time I saw this movie, that's the thing I remember most. Cracking up so hard. I'm like, come on, guys, don't be chicken shit. So I say that all the time now.
She's so adorable, and she just wants to be there. I love when she's like, "It's the scary German guy." She's so funny.
Look at us.
She's
the thing
hilarious.
that cracks me up about the scary German guy is he's credited that in the credits.
Yeah,
they don't give him a name.
No, I don't think they even
call
ask.
him the scary.
He's the scary German guy.
The scary German guy.
I love that whole little like storyline though, because there are heavy storylines in this in such like a family friendly Halloween movie, there's some heavy storylines. Like their parents are getting divorced. The mom's basically about to leave at the end. She's got her suitcases and shit.
And then she still doesn't know where her fucking kids
No,
are.
she doesn't.
She's got
and
all that
like,
shit packed up. And
is she taking the kids or is she just like, fuck this, I'm out?
Well, there was like a stuffed bear or a stuffed dog on top of the luggage.
So let's hope she's packed the kids' stuff.
She's at least taking Phoebe with her, maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, we've got the divorce storyline, and then the scary German guy's got his whole like Auschwitz tattoo and his World War II backstory.
Like,
he knows real monsters.
I know what monsters look like.
Yeah, like there's some heavy themes in this for children. I will say though that scene where you see his tattoo for the first time had a much bigger effect on me today than it did as a child, because that was just like a theme in a movie as a child. Like it wasn't real until you like grew up and you're like, oh shit.
When he says that line, I've seen real monsters, and then you see the tattoo, it was like, okay, now I know what he meant by that.
See, this movie is heavy. It's a heavy movie for a movie that also has the line Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman's got nards.
It's so much commercialism as well. Burger King makes multiple entries into this film.
I forgot, again, because we were kids in the 80s, I forgot that Burger King used to have their burgers in styrofoam.
Yeah, I didn't remember that.
I know McDonald's used to as well.
Yeah,
I forgot
McDonald's
all about that. I
did.
knew McDonald's sticks out in my head the most, but I completely forgot about Burger King doing the same thing.
Oh, guys, styrofoam. I'm just thinking about how many times I set styrofoam on fire just to see it melt. And part of the reason there's a hole in the ozone layer. Sorry, planet. It was me being a pyro.
It smells terrible, but it looks cool.
It just melts. I gotta do it. I was stupid. I apologize, Earth. But let's get into the opening movie. I love how it opens with a disclaimer about how Van Helsing sucked. Yeah. It's like, they blew it. They didn't do it.
I love that it looks so like the imagery in this movie was so like classic vampire, like classic monster kind of thing.
Yeah, classic horror.
Because this whole thing is like classic horror, homage to like, the universal creatures of the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So I love that it's all just like, even that like the font they chose and everything, but then at the end it's like, but they blew it.
Yeah.
So like, okay, it's a kids movie.
It's still
they
an
do that
80s
whole
movie.
crawl about how 100 years ago they had
they
had this big battle with them, and I love how the last few lines were they blew it.
I love how they just are storming the castle and they're just like running in there, and then just some child with no shoes on walks in and they're like forcing her over there.
And like, bring in that girl. I'm like, you gonna get this bitch some shoes at least? Like she's walking on, like she's gonna get a splinter or something.
I know. I was like,
this
did
is
you
the Middle
steal
Ages?
this girl? Like where did you get her?
Doing you guys a solid favor.
No, at first I'm like, why doesn't anyone ever attack a vampire during the day?
I know.
But
Why
then
wait till midnight?
you get to but then later when they explain, when they finally get scared German guy to read the fucking diary, he's like, okay, it has to be at midnight at this certain day, and I'm like, okay, well that makes sense now. 2/3 of the fucking movie later.
Yeah.
I love though, because in the beginning when she's reading that, and then that hole opens up, and she's reading all in German. So I was like, did she open that hole?
What happened?
I was like, why would she open a hole that was gonna suck them in?
Yeah,
I know, and I'm sure it's not helping that you're just yelling at this poor girl. Like,
she got no shoes on.
Like there's literally a line where he's like, if you don't fucking hurry, we're gonna die.
And I love how they were like, it had to be a young girl because she was a virgin or whatever. Yeah. But I'm like, back in those times, like that girl was 15. She was married and had 3 kids by this point.
By that point she would have
probably.
Yeah.
Children were different.
The lifespan wasn't there. At 30,
you didn't live till 30.
You were gonna die at like 35 as an old man. So it was kind of like 9 years old. You're already sprouting kids.
Yeah, no, but I love when they storm the castle because, like you said, it's that classic like.
Maybe she was an
imagery.
Old maid.
Yeah, she probably was by
she
that
was an
point.
Old maid. She's like never got married. She was the spinster with all the cats.
There you go.
She was making it. She's like, by the time I'm 20, I have to find a.
She was the strudel maker.
Yes.
The strudel maker. But then nothing makes really sense from that point on in the movie. After the great opening you get with all these great sets and all this great lights, and granted, it does come back at the end. They give us a pretty good set in the end.
The mansion is really done well too.
Yeah,
in the town. Like this is the whole thing that we don't like. This whole movie is so ridiculous and it's totally made for kids because you're like, this doesn't fly with normal things. Like in normal things that like adults could be like, no. Because of like, why does it have to be their fucking town?
Yeah.
Like randomly.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that either.
They're in Transylvania in his castle and all this shit, and all of a sudden Van Helsing has this mansion that he had in America, and this just random small town.
Well, they said his disciples or something brought it over, and I was like, but
So then why did this other bitch have his diary to sell in the yard sale if that house was still there?
We got no answers.
Someone robbed the house and was like, I got shit to sell.
That's probably what happened.
Like, yep.
She bought it off some kid in a fucking in the parking lot of the Piggly Wiggly in that town or some shit.
Yeah,
like, it was like,
could be. But no, I love
I know your kid's into this shit.
When Dracula comes back and he's like finding Frankenstein. Why is Frankenstein on a plane?
I know. Why? Who is shipping Frankenstein? Because at first I'm like, okay, wait.
Bavaria, right?
Yeah, okay, at first I'm like, okay, wait. Were they shipping him and he just intercepted this plane to dump him out at this exact spot in this town that has Van Helsing's mansion?
It could be.
They hid the amulet somehow, even though it ended up in limbo. None of this makes fucking sense.
None of it makes sense.
But then I'm like, was he on the plane too? Because 2 coffins dumped out, or 2 boxes dumped out. So one was obviously Frankenstein. So was the other the Gill Man that they called him?
Maybe.
Or was that Dracula?
No, I think that was I don't think it was Dracula because Dracula was the little bat.
And where the fuck did he get his custom hearse that he just shows up and like?
It's a ghost hearse.
It just goes with him wherever.
It's a ghost hearse.
He can summon it.
Oh no! And I was like, okay, so he opens the trap or the door, right, and the coffins fall out, and then Dracula just bat flies down there. I was like, does sunlight not affect him then in the day while he's a bat? I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like
I thought it too. And he's like, ha 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 ha. I'm like, is he gonna start sizzling all of a sudden?
Like he's a
shit.
daywalker.
It's daytime.
Yeah, like it was clearly daytime, even when the coffin fell. I was like, it's all day, and you see him. Later, you see Dracula hanging upside down by the swamp.
He's just like, why do they live by a swamp also?
I know. I was like, nothing else looks like a swamp but this one area.
You guys don't watch your kids at all. Like, Phoebe's clearly just walking around the neighborhood yelling at scary German guy. And then, like, you guys let her have a tree house or whatever near a fucking swamp.
Near a swamp.
Where Frankenstein just shows up. Where he just shows up and be like, hey, guys.
Phoebe befriends Frankenstein. I love it.
She's like, I found him.
She's adorable.
He's my friend.
Don't be chicken shit.
Yeah.
I love when we first meet Sean and
Patrick.
Yeah, and they're in the principal's office, and there's Principal Vanilla trying to be friends with them.
He's trying to use all that cool lingo.
I dig it, man.
I dig it. But monsters aren't real. And I love how Sean's like, but we don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't. And that was me as a kid. Like, you don't know everything in the world. When I found out that we're still discovering things, I said that to every adult.
Like,
I was like, they're still finding bugs in the fucking.
Like, prove me wrong?
Yeah, it's like, you don't know. But now I'm an old, sad adult who knows nothing's real.
See, mine is now like when someone says that, I'm like, the people that wrote our Constitution didn't know dinosaurs existed. So how does that?
That's true.
I'm like, don't tell me that we know everything. All right.
They didn't have the internet back then.
Mm-hmm.
The internet doesn't even know everything.
Yes, exactly.
And then, so Patrick and Sean walk out of the principal's office after they're like, fuck you, you don't know anything. You don't know if monsters are real, principal. But they walk out and they're like, where's Fat Kid? And then we see Fat Kid, who's not that fat.
No. That's all they call him.
Like he wasn't even, I mean, he was kind of fat, but he was like a little kid fat. Like he wasn't like.
He was chubby.
He wasn't like obese.
No,
you know? It
and
like,
all kids get a little chunk on them before they go through puberty and they sprout up.
I mean,
like, that's
these
just,
kids all had,
that's just what you
they
do,
all had
man.
those like chubby, like little kid cheeks. Like you guys are about to sprout. Like it's gonna happen like soon. You guys are approaching junior high. Like you guys are gonna shoot up real quick.
I know, they're so mean to him.
They
just call him Fat Kid. And then the first time we meet Fat Kid, he's getting bullied.
Yep.
Well, he is eating though, so
the thing
candy bar. He's allowed.
Got a glandular problem.
I think what is it? The '80s epitome of the bully was Wayne from Wonder Years.
Anytime I see that kid, I just hear him saying "butthead" from the Wonder Years.
Well,
I can never. Even that guy, he looks exactly the same today. Like I've seen him on. He did a reality TV thing on. He was on. It wasn't his, but he was on the show with them or something.
But every movie from the 80s that you see him, he always plays that. He was typecast as that.
Butthead.
Yeah.
He's just Butthead.
Yeah.
But when we meet Horace, who's Fat Kid's name, his real name, he's getting bullied and he's still got snark. Like he's still talking shit to those bullies. He's like, at least I don't have a stupidity problem.
He's quick-witted.
He is.
That's what you got to do, man. You're like,
I
all right, I might be fat, but I'm not stupid.
I love though after they ask what he said and he doesn't want to say it, but he says it. He's like, I said you're an asshole. He gets it out. He just can't help himself.
Have you ever known anyone named Horace?
No.
Oh, I did, and God damn it, was it glorious? Because
he called him Fat Kid.
Because me and he was a fat dude too. He was our boss actually, and but he went by his middle name, which was Paul. Odd enough, so we'd always call him Horace. He was like, "That's not my name, guys." I'm like, "His name is Horace," and we'd always do that. He'd get so mad at us.
It's like, that is your government name. That is what your mama called you.
I'm
That's what
sorry if
Mom
I
called
ever
you.
meet anyone else named Horace, because you're gonna get it, man. But
You're
you know
just
what?
calling
Own
you
that
fat
shit.
kid.
That's fair.
You're a fat kid. Be fat kid.
But then our
Tragically, that guy died of pneumonia in real life.
Yeah, I saw that.
The fat kid?
Yeah.
The guy that played the fat kid, like an actual.
That sucks.
Yeah,
It wasn't that long ago either, was it?
Yeah, I believe it was in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
97? I don't know.
Okay, so it was longer than I thought it was.
You think
thought
10
it was
years
a-
ago was
No, I said within the last 10. I thought it was 2007.
I thought it was like 2006 or
Yeah,
something
so
like
you
that.
guys are thinking that short amount of time frame was back in. Whilst the bullying is still going on, Rudy, the neighborhood greaser, shows up, and he's a badass, but he's gonna get cancer super young.
Okay, even as a kid, I was like, wait a minute. So he's not as old as Patrick's sister.
Yeah.
Who is like the next door neighbor and Sean's best friend or whatever.
Yeah.
Who has a sister who was obviously in high school or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's older than these kids because someone was like, oh, he's in junior high.
Yeah, so are these like sixth
And I'm like,
graders?
wait, okay. So he's like 7th, 8th grade, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, but you're still on a bike. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. And even in my neighborhood, I'm like, nobody on a bike is that cool. Like,
No, bikes
I'm like,
were all the rage in the
yeah,
80s.
but I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
but I'm like, he shows up with like his greaser's jacket and like, you know, he's lighting a cigarette. I'm like, but you're still riding a bike,
I know,
man.
and
Like,
everybody sees him smoke. I was like, there's no adults that are going to
yeah,
be like,
and,
hey,
he's
don't
just- he's
smoke
just,
in
you
here.
know, because he's like in the middle of like not even the playground. It's just like the asphalt top.
Yeah,
like,
it's
near the
like
school.
everybody got out of school and they're all standing
Like
there.
they're literally
Yeah.
outside of the fucking school. And he just showed
He's
up
just
like, hey
smoking.
kid, like you're just gonna have this cigarette and make you eat that fucking candy bar.
Eat it, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Call it a day, man.
He's so suave throughout this whole movie.
You're still riding a bike, Rudy.
You
Yeah.
are. But then we get the next shot of Sean and Patrick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean and Patrick walking along discussing Wolf Dork.
Just
Yeah.
think, Sean Patrick.
Sean and Patrick.
Sean Patrick.
I love how
Flannery.
they use dork for everything. I completely forgot that used to mean dick.
Dork and
It is.
Nards.
Yeah, I completely deleted from my brain that
He's
dork
got to
was
wear
another
pants. He
name.
doesn't want everyone looking at his wolf dork. Wolf dork.
I
band.
know.
It's
And
a
then
cool band
Sean
name.
was like, he has wolf dork. I'm like, everything has,
Yeah.
reproductive organs. Like even dogs, like it's out there. Like, what did you expect would happen?
Okay. Gillman, where was his?
I don't know how fish reproduce. They lay eggs and then they do something. The other
Well,
fish
how do
come
the-
and
how do
like,
the-
fertilize. So
does-
maybe
does
that's
the-
the way. I
Does
don't
the
know.
guy fish have to have sex with the egg then?
I don't think so.
I just think
it
they spurt it out
Yeah.
around the egg and then it finds it.
It
Yeah.
does. So it's like external.
Yeah. I'm pretty
That's
sure.
weird.
If anybody knows this, please email us and let us know if this is how fishes
I
reproduce.
don't wanna look it up. It's not something I want to know.
need
about.
We
some
don't
fish
need that on
biology
our
classes.
I
history.
think I need it. That's why we have producer kids. I don't like to look. This
She's
up.
not. She's shaking her head now.
It's in the name of science.
Yeah, it's like you guys were gonna bury me.
Oh, we need to.
Wolf Dork is a cool band name. If you didn't hear me, so if
Yeah.
anyone's looking for a band name, Wolf Dork.
Well, the thing that you got
Wolf
appreciate.
Dork.
You
Only
have
if you
these
play like
kids
German
having-
death metal too.
Well, you have the
Wolf Dork.
That'd be bad.
Wolf Dork.
But yeah, we see
We are Wolf Dork.
the wolf dork. We see all the monsters kind of coming together and Drax kind of,
Yeah.
rounding them up. And I love how when he gets the coffin and he finds Frankenstein, he's got those little jumper cables in his
On the end of his staff.
Yeah,
in his cane.
I've seen the the sword cane. I've seen like
Yeah.
a flask cane. I've never seen jumper cables.
Never saw a
for
jumper
the
cable
dead
cane.
cane.
Yeah.
That would come in handy. And you know what? There should be those for fucking old people because who uses canes?
Mm.
Old people. Who needs fucking sudden jolts to them to keep them alive? Old people.
Yes.
So if that was a life-saving cane, that should be a thing.
I went in a whole different direction. You
Patent
said
pending.
old people, and I just was thinking those are kind of like nipple clamps, and then I was like, nope, we're in a
Old
wrong
people
turn.
don't need that.
We're on the wrong turn, brain. We gotta
No,
circle back
if
to where
it's-
we're
if
going.
if the cane was nipple clamps for old people, the clamps would be at the bottom of the cane.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
But I love the first time you see the creature. He's so like fish faced, but it's clearly just the black creature from the lagoon.
Yeah.
Like,
So they didn't have rights, so
Yeah.
they couldn't do it.
so they had to give it bigger
they had
eyes
to-
and a different
yeah,
mouth.
so they couldn't get rights to these characters from Universal, so that's why on Frankenstein his bolts are not on his neck; they're on his temples.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because there was like a certain amount of things they had to do to make they had to be like specifically different.
Yeah.
To make it. It was like something like they had to be 30% different or some shit like that.
That makes sense.
It was enough
to avoid the copyright issues.
Yeah, if it was enough to where if they wanted to get sued, they can plead their case and be like, no, this is what's different. Not the same.
We didn't copy. We changed it up here.
Yeah.
See?
Like, we didn't completely rip you off. He's like, we took your idea, but we changed it so you can't sue us.
But then Sean gets home, and we clearly see that his mom and dad are not having the best time in marriage land. And the dad is super honest. I love how open the dad was about everything. He's like, we're going to marriage counseling. And he's just sitting there smoking a cigarette in his bedroom.
I thought you quit smoking, Dad. I'm going to need you to shut up about that stuff.
Which is every parent ever. Because he says, look, I love you. I love you a whole lot. But I need you to shut up.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, okay, well, either I give up smoking or we go to marriage counseling. I can't do both right. Not this week, man.
Not this week.
Right. Got a fucking missing body from the goddamn museum. Okay, and that's my other thing. Did they just get any mummy that was available, or is this supposed to be like a specific mummy that they got?
I don't know. Because they never explained.
Like, how did Dracula just pull all this together? Like, okay, well, I sent out a wave signal to the gill man to just show up in that swamp. You know,
yeah, got to do the same for the mummy.
I'm shipping Frankenstein, but I'm just going to meet the plane and dump him out or whatever. And then, the werewolf guy just happens to live in this town. So, hey, bonus for us.
See, that's one thing that makes me think that the other one that was in the coffin or the crate was the gill man, because how would he get him there?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's where he's just been this whole time.
Who knows?
Who knows?
They chose this random town.
Yep.
Yes.
Gilman lives here, so we got to go there.
Luckily for these kids, they formed a monster squad. Or otherwise, our town, or this little town, would be
right.
Another Stephen King. It's Tarker's Mills. Or
they
whatever.
made fucking business cards.
Yeah.
They don't use them until the very end, though.
Well, the thing that made me laugh, and I thought was hilarious, is when Rudy beats up the bullies. Patrick and Sean have their little discussions like, should we ask him? Should we ask him? Should we ask him? Let's ask him. He's like, ask me what? Like, do you want to be in our club?
I know, it's kind of weird that it's like, okay, this kid is like, he's older.
Yeah.
He's cool. He smokes. He's got a leather jacket. But like, why is he gonna hang out with you kids?
Yeah.
I assumed.
And why does he have no other friends? I think, okay.
I assumed it was to look it through the window. That was really what I thought.
Yeah, but he didn't know about that until after he was already hanging out with him. He could go through the monster test. I mean, that was just an added bonus to being in the monster club.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just having a real shit time in middle school, and he had to go back to where he was happy.
He needed tutoring.
He could have.
And what shop did you have in junior high where you can make bullets?
I know. I love their montage.
Is this live ammo class that I missed out on?
But during the whole scene with the dad and they're going to marriage counseling and blah, 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 Sean's like, I don't want to babysit my little sister.
Yeah.
And dad's like, I got to go to work. And mom's super pissed.
He wants to go see Death Canoe 12 or Groundhog Day 12.
Yes.
Something like that.
It's Groundhog Day 7. No, it's 12. It was 12.
It was 12.
Because he said they could chop him up and send the pieces to Norway and it'd still come back. And he's like, that was 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I assumed that was like a play on Friday the 13th. Like,
I'm sure.
Yeah, because they mentioned like he always comes back.
Always comes back.
Like, I'm assuming that's what that was a reference
to. For the first movie where he wasn't in. And then the other one where he wasn't in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then the one where he went to space.
Yeah.
To space.
Is there an overlapping like Leprechaun and
Jason?
In space?
I've seen Leprechaun in space.
Like,
I'm trying to recall it in my brain, but it's not happening.
Like an evil space station for all these ones that have been to space.
There you go.
It's a co-op where they share the space. Like
it's that same restaurant that they have in Spaceballs.
There you go.
There it is. They just commune there and get soup.
I love the special.
But Stan Shaw plays the dad's cop friend, and I love his jokes. Like, he's just so into, like, everything. He's got the old man jokes throughout the whole movie. Like, at the end, when the vampire car goes through their car, he's just like, I'm not saying anything, man.
I know, like, yeah. I always think, like, in movies like these, I'm like, okay, like, these guys are cops, so they have to, base a lot of the shit and just, reality is what it is, basically. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, well, mummies don't just get up and walk away. All right, well, where the fuck happened to this body of this guy we just shot, and now he's gone, and the guy was killed that was driving the ambulance or whatever.
After the guy was like, lock me up, I'm going to kill people.
I'm
a werewolf.
Like, I am a werewolf, put me in jail.
Come on, guys. Nobody believed him, though.
No.
Poor guy.
So it's like, at what point in this whole endeavor, like, as, the cop friend or whatever, like, At what point you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go.
I'm gonna go
with whatever, all right? Because there's too much shit that's piling up. Because at some point, even as a logistically thinking cop, you're like, okay, once the evidence starts piling up to this weird scenario, then you gotta have to believe it at some point.
Yeah, and he gets kind of creeped out because he says that they had some eyewitnesses who saw the hearse and it had the cross or the
skull,
skull.
I'm like, that just sounds like a cool hearse. How do you know that's Dracula, man? I want that hearse.
Well, in the 80s, no one was cool.
This is true. They're like, well, Elvira's not in town, so who could it be?
Exactly.
It's got to be someone evil.
It has to be.
Oh, why is there a giant snake in the woods? Like when they show that shot over the swamp, and by the way, that's the only place that looks swampy in the whole town. So I don't even know where this is set because it seemed to be like fall. Like there was trees with leaves and shit.
This is what I'm saying. It's Tarker's Mills or whatever that was in Silver Bullet because they had a swamp. They had all the same shit.
They had a bunch of different ecosystems all in one place.
This is the magical place that exists with all these things. And Van Helsing's diary and this,
Van Helsing. It shows up
glowing amulet every 100 years.
Van Helsing, he didn't get enough screen time for my liking.
I love that he is like his only lines were like, "Get the girl and hurry up and fucking read it, or we're gonna die."
Yeah.
And then when he comes out at the end, he's just yelling. He's like, "Oh!" And then just a thumbs up, like, "Thanks,
That was
kid."
so cheesy in the 80s, though, when he did that.
Oh, it was super cheesy in the 80s for me when Sean sees that his mom wrote a message about the diary, and he just figures out that it's an anagram for Dracula.
Okay. Well, he didn't really try that hard to be like, I'm Alucard. Like, okay, you just said it backwards.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well say this is Dr. Acula calling.
There you go.
Dr. Acula.
Then, like, you just turned it backwards. That did nothing. The fucking sixth grader figured it out in like 3 tries, man.
No, I put that son of a bitch is astute.
Yeah, he is.
And then he goes back to the Monster Squad and was like, "Look, guys, there are monsters in this town."
Yeah, that scene didn't make sense.
That was the only thing he had at that point.
Was, okay, but that was the same night, right? Like all this shit starts happening. The mummy disappears, the werewolf body disappears and kills the other guy, and he hears his mom and dad arguing, and then it cuts to that scene where the mummy is in that kid's closet, right?
Yeah.
The kid's in pajamas, and like the dad's like, "You're not sleeping with us tonight."
He didn't even look in the fucking closet.
I love that scene.
Yeah, and then 5 minutes later, they're all dressed again.
They are.
And in the clubhouse, and it's the same fucking night. I'm like, did this kid just like, all right, well, fine, I'm not going to sleep anyway. I'm just going to go out with my friends.
I know, and I was like, what was the mummy doing in the closet? Because the next scene, he just leaves out the window.
Yeah.
Like maybe he was trying to get to. Was he getting to the swamp, or where was he going?
I don't know.
Why was he in the closet?
Wait,
though?
Besides the one part that he goes into the swamp, like what was he doing? Like he was just roaming around.
He was, yes.
Yeah. Was he ever in the mansion at any other point?
I don't remember him.
I don't think he was. So yeah, he was just running around town and nobody says anything or does anything or sees him because he was hiding in closets all day. Yeah. That's what he was. He was in the kid's closet all day.
All the kids got out of their beds after bedtime and went back to the clubhouse.
That's true. Yeah, I know. And
nobody noticed.
And there was that whole scene where they all meet fucking Frankenstein and then just walk down the street with him and like nobody's noticing anything.
He's in their montage. He's in the backyard.
Yeah, like,
he's just in the backyard with all the kids.
Phoebe hangs out with him all fucking day. Like God knows what the mom's doing.
Next to the swamp.
Yeah. The mom's planning her new life when Phoebe's out in the swamp where she's just playing with Frankenstein. Like, at no point do you... I mean, I know he doesn't say too many things, but when you hear Phoebe talking to somebody outside, maybe you should go look.
Well, not just that, though, but the thing you got to imagine, though, is when you see Phoebe has found him, you'd think as a parent you would hear all these kids screaming bloody murder because they're seeing a monster. Yeah. Don't you think you would go outside and be like, okay, why are my kids screaming?
This mom was planning her new life.
Oh, and then the thing that cracked...
The other
thing that I found hilarious is Fat Kid decided he was going to hide in a trash can.
Yes, he takes the lid off and crawls into it.
That was so like cartoonish.
Yeah. And it's so funny because the scene takes a while because it takes a while to get
Hurry up, Fat Kid.
Trash can.
We're all waiting for Fat Kid.
Like all the other ones just disperse and go behind things, and he's the only one that's climbing in shit.
He decides to climb his ass inside the trash can.
Oh, I love how there's that random mansion that has the, decrepit crypt underneath it in this town as well.
I was like, how many secret rooms does this fucking place have? Because even when they're downstairs, he finds the other secret room that has the fucking amulet in there.
Yeah. I know, and like Dracula had Frankenstein.
How did the amulet get here? He had Frankenstein in a cell.
In a
basically.
cell? Yeah, he had him in a cell. Like, yeah, it was just in the wall. Like, it said that the disciples of Van Helsing had built it, the wall. And like when he breaks the wall and you look in there, like there's crosses and shit on the wall. So it's clearly like they're trying to protect it. But yeah, I was like, why is this crypt in this house?
The thing that I didn't get when you see the amulet inside that room with all those crosses over there, obviously Dracula can't get into that.
Yeah.
But didn't he just resurrect Frankenstein and tell why couldn't he just tell Frankenstein, hey, go get that for me?
Go get it, yeah. I don't know. The Wolfman was there when he breaks it. Just go get it. Yeah.
Go get it. Those things don't hurt you.
I know. Did they really need the book? Or was it more like get the book so they can't stop us kind of thing?
I think it was that.
It might have been that.
Because I'm like, okay, it kind of seemed like the book was important, but then you sent Frankenstein to do it, who just made friends with these kids and never came back.
Yeah.
I know, and obviously you don't trust him enough if you're keeping him in a cell.
Yeah. So it was just weird. But
and like Dracula, the mummy, you're not telling the mummy to do shit because he's just hanging out in kids'
I
closets
know.
all day.
He's like, I'm gonna come over here and we're gonna howl at the moon after we resurrect Frankie and all. But I'm out. Yeah.
I'm really old. I can't do much. So.
All right. I guess I'll meet you guys there.
His really true only lackey for Dracula was the Wolfman, because the Wolfman was doing everything for him.
And only when he was in wolf mode.
Only when he was a wolf.
Yeah. Fucking the human was like, fuck this, Dracula. I don't want to deal with you.
That because of this movie, that guy's always a werewolf to me. I always see that guy's the actor. Just in anything he's in, that guy's a werewolf.
Hey, he was trying to be a good human. He tries to warn people, and he got the cops. He was like, "Put me in a jail cell. I need to go in there."
I know. I'm like, what more does this guy have to do? Lock him up. Like,
right?
he's just causing an issue in the fucking jail or whatever.
Right? Put him in
isn't
there.
That enough to just lock him up for the night, even if it's like, all right, disorderly conduct, like something you're just basic that you're like, he's drunk. We'll just lock him up for the night. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I love how when they go to the scary German guy's house to get them to read the diary, like it goes from they're terrified to we're gonna have pie.
Yeah, he lures them in with food. He's like, here, have some pie.
Out.
And he's the sweetest old man.
Yeah,
he just wanted friends.
Yeah.
He's like, this very interesting diary you've brought me to read.
Yes, and he does. He reads that whole diary to them and like explains everything that happens along the way. He was very informative. Make a scary German friend.
Yeah.
Kids. Was he scary?
No.
Not after the fact.
They were just afraid of him.
He never told anyone his name. What's he hiding? See?
Yeah, that's true. One of my notes is scary German guys bitching. Because I think Hector says, or Horace.
Hector? Hector?
Horace says it.
Well, Horace just got his third piece of pie, so he's like, scary German guys bitching.
German guys bitching.
And again, how horrible these parents are. They have no idea they're in some stranger's house and he's feeding them pie.
Where were you, Sean? Oh, we were at scary German guy's house eating pie and drinking Pepsi.
Like, what?
When they go find Rudy after they have the scary German guy read the thing and they find out they need a virgin and like all that stuff. And they go talk to Rudy and he's at the sock hop place. Yeah. I don't remember what it's called. The Phil's. Cafe. Yeah.
It's a Phil's. We got fried shrimp and burgers, apparently.
But it's like, do you know any virgins? And like, wouldn't they all be virgins?
Yeah.
Like, why can't they just do it?
Yeah,
I just assumed they needed a girl to do it.
Well, that's just dumb.
I don't know why.
It could be a virgin. Like people hear virgin and they automatically assume it's a girl.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like it's always. I think because they were doing it as an homage to all the old movies, and I don't know why they do it in the old movies. But in the old movies, they always show it's like a young girl that has. Well,
because women's virtue is connected to their virginity in the olden days. So if we weren't virtuous, we had no virginity. Which is dumb. Sex is fun, kids. I mean, wrap it up and all.
No. If there are no blonde virgins, then we can't save the world.
No blonde barefoot virgins.
We can't save the world from the vampires and the werewolves and the gill man.
When Phoebe is trying to be like, look, guys, I found Frankenstein. And she runs up to Sean, and Sean's like, Phoebe, handle life. He's just pissed with her, and she bites his ass. She just fucking bites his hand.
You bit me.
I'm telling Mom.
She is, like we said earlier, she carries this movie.
Listen, motherfucker, I found a goddamn Frankenstein.
Yes, and then when she calls them chicken shit, all she asks afterwards is, "Can I be in the monster club now?
Yeah.
I've made friends with Frankenstein. Just
I
let
brought
me
an
in."
actual monster to the club, so
Like, if y'all don't let her in now,
you guys can't even find a fucking virgin, and I brought Frankenstein.
Right? And then when they take him up to the clubhouse thing and he sees a depiction of Frankenstein, he doesn't like being scary.
I know, that was almost super sad.
I
when he was. Like, scary.
I know, he didn't like to be scary.
I don't want to be scary.
He just wants to be friends.
Bogus.
We forgot to tell you that Dracula basically sent Frank to get the diary and or kill the children.
Yeah.
Yes. Kill children.
And like Frankie just wants to be nice.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be
I didn't
evil.
wake up to kill fucking kids, man. I just
Right?
want to hang out for a bit.
Just
They're
wanna
like, this
be
little
here.
girl's too sweet. I can't kill her.
Halloween's coming. Like,
And then once they discover all the pieces that they need, like, oh, there's an ambulance, there's, virgin, we need all this stuff. Then you get your super awesome
80s
monster
montage.
fighting 80s montage. And it's amazing. This is where Rudy makes bullets in shop class.
and he's also
Making steaks.
He's woodworking some steaks in there.
Yeah.
What was that like? Was that like a wooden tissue box he was making?
I guess.
Like
I do not know.
his cover. His
Yep,
cover
he's
assignment.
got to
or
wear
whatever.
that fucking leather jacket though in
And then
shop.
What is it? He
So
steals,
fucking hot in here.
He steals the bow and arrow.
Yes, he
So
just walks up and runs
in
off
the most
with it.
inconspicuous way ever. Like,
Don't be
gotta-
suspicious.
I gotta
Don't be
kneel down
suspicious.
and rub my hands together before I grab this around.
Yeah. He carried the fight, basically.
Yeah.
Rudy carried the fight. The other kids were not doing
I
well.
love my part. He's like, Rudy, where are you going? He's like, I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I?
Yeah, I'm the
Well, the
goddamn
only
club
thing-
or
Get it.
not.
What was
Like,
it?
Eat this, Skaggs.
The only thing of note other than the montage was that little kid Eugene with the dog wrote the army.
Yes.
Yes.
Please come, army guys.
There's
Please come,
monsters.
army guys. There's
Like
monsters.
what mailbox did you throw that in?
The army
What
one.
did you address it to?
To the army.
To the army, care of Eugene and Pete.
Yes. Eugene was awesome too. That little kid got his Twinkie stolen by the water monster, by the way.
Creature
Still,
took my
man.
Twinkie.
Yes, that poor little kid.
Creature took my Twinkie is on par to me for Polar Bear fell on me from Roadhouse.
Yes, there you go. I also need a Creature Eat My Twinkie shirt. So I need a Stephen King Rules shirt and a Creature Ate My Twinkie shirt.
Creature ate my
I felt
Twinkie.
bad for him too because he wanted his Twinkie and his dog threw it in the water and then that's when
Fuck,
you see
man.
him.
Pete wanted to get that nasty taste of all the goddamn envelopes. that
Yeah,
blew
he
off
was
his
right into
mouth.
the army.
He was like, you're going to share
His
that
dad
fucking
doesn't
Twinkie.
believe him. Like, his dad was the most unlistening dad ever. He's like, just look, there's a fucking mummy right
It's
there.
like, all you
Just
had to do was turn around,
around,
dude, and it's in there.
You're just in here yelling at me because you don't love me. That's how little kids take things.
Yes.
Oh, then they have to ask Patrick's sister if she's a virgin, and they do it ever so delicately
Well,
by
they didn't
asking if she
flat-
had been dorked.
Yeah, because he kept what? He kept saying other things, and then he finally says, "Well,
Are you a virgin?
Yeah, no, I love when he's like, "No, you're a virgin." Like moves his mouth around with his
what?
hand.
What are you guys asking me?
Oh.
You ever boffed the bologna? Have you ever been dorked?
And then they pull out, I'm assuming it was a topless photo of her.
Well, Frankenstein took a picture of her, remember? When they were in the clubhouse?
Was that what it
that's
was?
what it was.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Because
then. Okay.
Rudy had already been creeping on her when he did that. He saw her, and then he took the camera up there, and he
Okay.
started zooming in on her. And then when Frankenstein was up there, he sees her, and then she got topless, and he took the picture of her with the camera.
Yeah.
Because during 80s montage, when Rudy gets the film developed, he sees that, and he's like,
Yeah, and then they give it to Frankenstein, who's staring at it with glasses on.
Yeah, that's when
And
they
he's
were all
holding-
jumping around him,
he's-
trying to
yeah,
get
while-
the picture back.
While the mom's doing what again?
What?
While
I
they're all
know.
just they're all
Literally
just looking.
in the backyard.
They're
like
all
not,
just literally looking at topless photos of the neighbor girl
Yes.
who's 15, 16 years old.
including Phoebe.
these parents
Yes.
are almost equivalently as bad as the parents in Rugrats.
Yes. Watch your kids, folks.
Yes.
But they don't realize that the monsters are going to cause them danger until, like, they don't really get that shit's real until Frankenstein's like, Drac wants children dead.
Yeah.
Like, guys,
He
Jack
tells
wants
like,
you guys,
uh-oh.
Drac wants you guys dead.
I know. Well, okay. Eugene thought it was real because Creature ate his fucking Twinkie. So
he saw Mummy, so Eugene got it.
So Eugene got, up until this point, besides Frank, like Eugene has seen some shit. Man.
Yeah.
Like Eugene has evaded death twice now. And he's like, I am not looking forward to going in here.
Yeah.
And then Frank's like, Master, dead children.
Master wants children dead.
Maybe we should listen to Frank here for a second.
Wait, what did you say?
I love the super inconspicuous address to the mansion too. It was 666 Shadowbrook Drive.
All right, they're gonna kill your son.
I know, he tries. He tongues his meds like you do.
This is the Wolfman, by the way.
The Wolfman who's about to wolf out again. No, he tells him, he's like, I'm the guy you shot the other day.
Yeah.
He's gonna kill your kids.
And then the thing that you got to remember, too, that was funny is the partner of the dad, I forget his name, where he's like, wait, where are we going? It's like, why are we going there? Because some dude just randomly called you out of the middle of nowhere because he said he was going to kill your kids. It's like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then when they do finally get to the house, you get the great line of, kick him in the nards. Wolfman's got nards.
So many quotable lines.
So many quotable lines. Make that a shirt too. I need Wolfman's got nards shirt.
If it's not already, I mean, how many people have said that growing up? Like,
seriously.
Wolfman's got nards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I quote this movie at least once a day. So.
Oh my goodness!
I love how also Dracula found 3 women that dress alike and look alike to make his children of the night.
Were they like in a Catholic schoolgirl like uniform? Like, you just saw the shirts and they were all exactly the same. So I took it as they were like, did you take chicks from the mall that all worked at the same cheese hut or some shit? Like,
could have.
Or they were like schoolgirls.
The Bavarian cheese hut.
Yes, like
that's what it was.
Guten Tag, sir. How many for this evening?
There you go.
The thing you also got to love about the mansion scene is
we're wearing lederhosen.
What is it? They're being surrounded by the 3 of them: the Wolfman, Dracula, and the 3 sirens. And then they get to the statue. Like, haven't you read the Hardy Boys, man? He's like, move a lever here somewhere.
I always think that statue looks like Jack Daniels.
See, I was going.
I'm sure it's supposed to be like some general or some shit.
Yeah, I was whatever, like Teddy Roosevelt.
It's Jack.
Is this a Rough Rider? I don't know.
Like, who is this?
Yeah, Van Helsing he liked to drink Jack Daniels.
There you go.
It wouldn't have been around.
I don't know.
In Transylvania, where he got sucked into the vortex.
His disciples who lived in America, obviously, in Tarker's Mills or whatever.
In Tarker's Mills. But when they're fighting in the mansion, then they get into the basement after they find the Teddy Roosevelt statue. And they move the arm and they fall into the basement. I was like, that statue has a couple different tricks because when Drac does it, the wall moves.
Yeah. So, like, if you move the arm up, I think the wall turns. If you move the arm down, you would go into the trap door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, they end up in the crypt.
Basement.
I wanted there to be a cutaway where like Drac is like, we didn't know that.
Good to know.
Like, you learned something new.
But they go down there and they find the amulet and they get it, but then Dracula comes upon them and then Fat Kid unwraps this piece of pizza in foil.
That was quick thinking on Fat Kid's part. All right?
I love it so much. He is unfoiling this.
And I love that. And I love that Fat Kid
the pizza.
I love that Fat Kid's first. I was like, I had garlic in my pizza.
Yeah.
Just pull it out of my pocket here. So God, hey, fat people save lives, all right?
Yes.
And again,
he wasn't
even that fat. He's just getting ready to go through puberty.
Okay, but when you got a piece of pizza and foil in your pocket, you're a fat kid, okay?
Yes.
All right. That was another trope of the 80s.
If you got a piece of pizza and foil, if you got a sack full of pickles in your pocket, you're a fat kid, okay?
Or if you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in your helmet while you're trying out for football.
There you go.
I forgot about that. That thing cracks me up to this day is the fact that he had pizza tucked away and he puts it right on Dracula's face.
Pizza to the face, a garlic burn. That's what I called it.
Garlic
burn.
And I love how Dracula get me with pizza in the face and blow up your clubhouse.
He does.
Dynamite.
Just dynamite.
Why does everyone have dynamite in this fucking movie?
I do not know.
The dad later on has a stick of dynamite. I'm like, where did he get it from?
I'm assuming the dad was like, you throw dynamite at my friends.
You do gotta love and appreciate the fact that he does do that. He's like, you're gonna pizza me in the face. I'm gonna blow up your fucking clubhouse, you little assholes.
Yep. I love though when the creepy German guy shows up, or the scary German guy shows up with his car. Finally, the kids have a vehicle because Phoebe was like,
but why?
Come on, we gotta go get the kids.
Guys, I got scary German guy to help us.
We gotta get him.
Was scary German guy just that desperate for friends?
He was.
He like, I read this and a bunch of weird shit's happening. I guess I gotta believe you.
I would be like, I sent these kids on this wild mission. Maybe I'm kind of responsible.
You know what? I guess if 4-year-old Phoebe shows up and she's like, look, my brothers went to go rob this man. Like, wait, where's your parents?
My brothers went to fight Dracula. Here is Frankenstein, and we gotta go.
Well, she didn't have Frankenstein. Frankenstein was already there. So
he was. He got trapped under the door. That's right.
Oh, poor Frankenstein.
So yeah, it's like Phoebe just shows up and is like, no one's watching me. My brothers went to go rob somebody. Can you help us? Like, oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But as they're driving away,
my parents are going through a divorce.
My parents are going through a divorce.
They're going through shit right now.
Uh-huh. But the mummy chases them. This is the one time the mummy does something in the film, and he
just happened to be walking down the street at that time.
I know, and I love how he just grabs onto the car like yoink.
He was on the way to the mansion. He's like, all right, a few more miles. I'm almost there.
Almost there.
God damn it!
Why couldn't Drac just like pick me up and fly me back?
He's got that fucking hearse.
But I love how when he Rudy gets that brilliant idea to give me some slack, he gets some of the raveling.
Pete saves the day on that one.
Yeah, he does.
Pete,
the dog.
Yeah, the little dog.
Oh, does he?
Yes, because Pete's the one that grabs the bandage and pulls it back, and then that's when Patrick grabs it from him.
Patrick was being a little bitch.
He was.
Patrick needs to nut up or shut up, man. Like, that kid's in the Monster Club. If you're not going to be in the Monster Squad, if you got to have narc.
Like, all right, well, up until that afternoon, it wasn't real for them. It was just like, all right, we're going to read books and, watch movies and comic books and shit. And all of a sudden, like, wait, for serious? No.
You're like, wait, we actually got to do something?
Nope, I want to, because even Horace was like, can we do nature club? Can we do math club?
There's so many things. What about chess club, guys?
Like, let's change.
They got scared.
But after Dracula blows up the clubhouse, which is very sad, like death to childhood.
They can rebuild it.
They can. But then Drac also blows up Fun Cop Friend.
Oh, yeah.
That makes me sad. Like, Dad finally is like, okay, there's somebody going to come kill my kids. So he gets home.
Not just that, though, but Cop Friend was proven wrong by, like, oh, shit, there's Dracula.
Well, yeah, after they see the car drive through them, Fun Cop Friend is like, oh, shit, okay, everything's real.
Like, these fuckers weren't lying. Yeah,
but at that point, after the car drives through them or whatever, and he's like, we got to get home to my kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? When he's seeing Dracula standing there and like basically looks at the dynamite and lights it like with just his thoughts or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, get the fuck out of the car. Mm-hmm. Like, don't remember where he's gonna throw that.
Don't be trapped anywhere.
Just get out of the fucking car. Like, calling for backup is not what you need to be doing right now.
No, horror PSA, kids, get out of the car.
Get out of the car.
If you see dynamite, get out of the fucking car.
So, was anybody else expecting when the dad unloaded his gun on Dracula that when the mom came out, she was going to be stumbling out and have a bullet in her?
No, because this movie was too kid friendly. Yeah,
I was still kind of waiting for that. Like, man,
no, because even after hearing bullets, like she didn't come out till way later.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wrote down.
And still doesn't know where her children are.
I know. She's like, "What's going on?
Where are the kids, bitch? I've been at work all day. What do you mean, where are the kids?
Where are the kids?" Yeah, Rudy's line is, "I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I?
I've been packing all day. Leave your ass."
And Rudy's just a badass at the end. Like, he takes out 2 of those vamps with a smoke in his mouth.
Yeah.
Like, he's just fucking firing away with his bow and arrow with these stakes at these vampires.
Club, aren't I?
Dad tries to blow up Dracula. He tries to get even. That's where he comes back with the dynamite. Yeah. He just finds his own dynamite and is like, I'm going to go blow you up.
You're like, fucker.
I can get dynamite too, your shit up.
Then he doesn't blow up Dracula, but he does end up blowing up the Wolfman instead.
Oh yeah, I thought that
was a cool scene.
That was a cool scene because he puts it in his pants.
Just shoves him out the window.
Yeah, and then I like.
No, I love in that scene that Sean's like, "Made you look, bitch," and like, boom.
Yeah, I love like when he explodes. I always thought it was cool, and I do love how the Wolfman reassembles himself.
Yes. Coolest stuff.
Yeah.
The Wolfman and everything was done by Stan Winston, so quality work for the Wolfman. He obviously had to make him look a little different than like the Universal stuff and like that. So
still a Wolfman. He's still
I mean it works, and I guess that the face is kind of modeled after Stan Winston's face himself. So
yeah, I wrote Rudy carries the fucking team in this scene. Like.
Well, he's the badass that smokes and rides his Huffy.
He does, because he ends up taking the Wolfman out because with his silver bullets that he made in shop glass, he finally gets to use them.
See, here's the funny thing though: he made a bunch of bullets in shop glass, but when he loads the gun, he only put 1 in there. I'm like, dude, put them all in there because if you miss and you only have the one, now what?
He was in a hurry. All right,
yeah.
He just Time was not his friend at the moment.
And during all this, while this whole fight is going on, and of course there's wind and all that nonsense, Patrick's sister is reading the German that the scary German guy is feeding to her.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't read German well.
I love the line that she says, "Who's like, what he said."
Yeah. My favorite part is when he's like, "Are you not a virgin?"
Oh, yeah,
and
I forgot
she's
about
like,
that.
"Well, Steve, but Steve doesn't count." And he's like, "What do you mean?"
Maybe Steve doesn't count.
I don't understand that. He's like 12. He doesn't get it. Like, oh, honey. Oh, Steve doesn't count. Sorry, honey. Steve counts.
Patrick's sister reminded me of the. Is it Halloween 5 or 4? It's 4 with the cop's daughter.
Yeah.
Cops do it by the book.
Cops do it by the book. Who passes out trick-or-treating candy with no pants on?
Yes.
Just her shirt. Yes.
Well, now that would just be a costume if someone wore that.
It's true. It would be.
I'm like, you slut.
But yeah,
weren't your kids just here? No.
Back to something you said earlier too, about Angie, about how why did it have to be a girl? Because I'm like, all these other boys are prepubescent kids. They could easily start reading all this stuff, but they got lucky and they had Phoebe start reading what was in these passages.
Those kids have masturbated already.
That doesn't make them non-virgins.
Yeah.
But they're not pure though.
Still though,
they've defiled themselves.
Well, I'm glad you're making up more made-up rules for everything.
Okay, yeah. I'm making up made-up rules in a made-up universe without made-up rules.
Yes.
But anyways, luckily they had Phoebe there who started chanting everything.
Phoebe, again.
She's the MVP.
She's the MVP. It's her and Rudy throughout this whole movie. Sean's got the good shirt, but that's it.
We need a long-awaited Rudy and Phoebe Vampire Hunter sequel.
Yes.
There you go.
Exactly. But then right as Drac is about to take Phoebe, Frank shows up and is like, "No, fucker.
Yeah.
She's my friend."
Like, you leave her alone.
Mm-hmm. And then they open the giant black hole back to limbo, I believe is what they said.
Limbo hole.
The limbo
To
hole.
the limbo world.
Okay, so they finally kill the Wolfman, and then I know at one point the Gill Man shows up and he starts going off on people, and then what?
Oh, Horace takes
That's
him
when
out.
Horace takes him out with the fucking shotgun. After EJ and the other little douche
wouldn't let him in.
Yeah,
little
like,
fuck
my
faces.
name is Horace.
Yes. And I
Coolest
was
line
like,
ever.
somebody just could have shot him once the whole time, and then he would have just been out.
I know. I'm like, does he need to be in water, or because he's been in water once this whole fucking movie, right? Like literally,
I know.
When he pulled Dracula out of the fucking swamp.
Yeah.
You mean Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the creature kills a bunch of cops. Like he's just beating him. I was like, nobody shot him
Like,
the whole time.
Take a gun to him. Yeah, and then Horace has his little badass, and he does that, and he kills him, and then he's accepted by the bullies, and it's like, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. He takes that gun, and I love it because it's so out of place. That gun is so out of place with him. Like like the gun's bigger than him.
Like, not to mention, you would have probably fallen or been shot through with.
Yes, that kickback,
like, shot you through that window or something.
I love how he cocks it because you have to cock it, right?
Horace.
If anybody's ever in that situation, you know what they're going to do. They're going to say something and then cock the gun.
I feel it's a missed opportunity if you don't it now.
It's true. I mean, you got to do it.
So the guy that played Gillman was actually, he worked on the special effects. He was part of the special effects team that was designed to do the couple of the creatures or whatever.
Yeah.
And he had a full body cast of himself that they had done for something else. And he's able to talk, I think, Stan Winston into having him play the Gillman, because he's, look, we can make the suit off of this, and I think I can make, do the movements and all.
Yeah.
So that guy, I forget his name, but he's gone on to do other creatures, actually, and, has made a career out of it.
And there you go. Shoot your shot, kids.
So, yeah, I mean, it really worked out. He's like, because he had the full cast, and I think what it said is he wanted to build, like, a full gorilla suit for himself or whatever, and it's just, well, we have this casting around, we can just, add to that and make the Gillman, and then, I can play him, because it's, the suit will fit me. So.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the whole little story that Paul was talking about, they mention in that Into the Darkness documentary on Shudder. Because when they do their little segment on Monster Squad, they do talk about that. They actually interview the guy who was in the suit, and he says pretty much everything that Paul just said, that he shot his shot and was able to get into the movie to play the Gillman.
Nicely done, Gillman.
Yes.
Nicely done. But the vortex opens, everybody starts coming in, but Dracula really wants Sean to go into that vortex.
Yeah, he's like, you little fucker, you fucked everything up for me.
Taking you with me.
But Van Helsing's been there the whole time, and he comes out. We don't see him come out. He's just
how
there.
does he come out?
He just shows up.
Just shows up to help
He's
Sean.
just there. He just grabs the guy and he's like, thumbs up, kid.
Thumbs up.
Like, do you speak English?
I was like, was thumbs up a thing?
I don't know.
Back in the day? I don't know.
He does the thumbs up. He thumbs up back.
When this 100 years ago.
And then they get sucked into the vortex.
Yep, and Phoebe is sad because Frank gets sucked into the vortex as well. Poor little Phoebe.
But he got to keep Scraps. So
he did.
At least he has a friend in limbo.
The thing that cracked me up about that is how everything is being pulled in, and you see everybody like grabbing for dear life to not get sucked into this. And you see Phoebe, who's the closest probably to this vortex, and she's just chilling like nothing's
she's
happening.
behind the bench.
She's behind the bench.
That was somehow immovable, but then later in the shot, it's like on its back. So I'm like, obviously the bench moves, but like,
and I know it sucks a car in, but not a bench.
The Jeep that the scary German guy was driving, like it had Sean and his dad barely holding on to that tree until Dracula came to get him. Or whatever. So like, but Phoebe's like, nope, I'm good.
Phoebe tries to hold on to the Wolfman, or not to the Wolfman, to Frankenstein. Yeah. She really does. She doesn't want to let him go. She gets so sad.
No, stay with me.
He's mine.
And then the army shows up.
And they're like, they ask, who's Eugene?
Who's Eugene?
Who's Eugene? They're like, no, we got it. And they're like, who are you? And then he hands out a business card they made during the montage.
Yes.
It's really a card. It's a piece of paper.
Well, they cut them.
Yeah. They used a paper cutter and everything.
They didn't have card stock, but they made multiples of it, okay? And then it ends with the wonderful Monster Squad theme song.
Yes.
And if you had a theme song in the 80s, you were the shit.
It had to have been either like a crazy rock song or the weird like poppy rock.
Yeah, sometimes with rap. Yeah, poppy rap. Yeah.
This was more of the poppy rap.
There you go.
So that was what our childhood was. Commercialism with the Burger King and poppy rap music at the end of all the movies.
Pepsi was prevalent in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Pepsi and cherry pie at Scary German Guy's house. SGG.
There you go.
But I think that's it. Final thoughts, Paul?
Don't be a scary German guy.
Don't be a chicken shit and watch this movie.
I say be a scary German guy. Maybe not send kids down a path to, death or anything, but befriend some children if you're nice. And
I don't know. If some kid brings you a diary that was written by Van Helsing, like, you should really be telling these kids what's in there?
Probably not. He could have lied a little bit more.
I mean, I don't know.
You guys shouldn't be reading
He
this.
could have been like, let's go talk to your mom real quick, because I don't know if you guys should be listening to all this.
Yeah. And I don't know. I would never just let random kids from the neighborhood into my house to eat pie. That seems highly suspect.
Now, but in the 80s, it was a normal thing.
Well, there's a reason why now it's not a thing. Right?
Well, there's a reason why it's not a normal thing anymore, because of what happened
because
in
of the 80s.
Yeah.
Come on, how many unsolved mysteries have you seen?
Yeah.
These kids missing still.
We
I
didn't
love
know
unsolved
he was going to
mysteries.
take them.
We didn't know that guy that we never met that lived 5 houses down the road that liked to let all the kids hang out with him would just steal them one day.
We never knew anything.
What did you want us to do? Watch them?
What are we supposed to do? Stare at them all day? But that's it for this week. We are coming back to you next week with our final episode for Halloween month, and we are going to do Beetlejuice because it is amazing. It may not be very scary, but it has everything that us horror heads love. So we are going to watch it, and we are going to talk about it, and it is going to be amazing for our Halloween episode. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concern, you can email us at podcast@scarynerd.com. You can also email us for stickers and more fun stuff. We're also going to have new exclusive stuff coming up on Patreon for our Halloween episodes. So if you don't subscribe to that, you can go to patreon.com/scarynerd and check that out. There's more horror and entertainment news at scarynerd.com, and be sure to check us out on all the social medias. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we will see you guys next week. Anything else?
No. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Wolfman's got nards. Bye, everybody.